Hi, I'm Amy and I'm a member of Dance for All. Up until a few years ago, I hadn't really done a lot of dance, but I was part of a youth theatre called ToonSpeak Young People's Theatre, and we were doing a show, and as part of the show, everyone who was involved in the show in some way had to all be at I think it was a week-long rehearsal, and as part of that, there was 2 dance choreographers who were showing everyone who was in the show a dance routine, and people were describing it to me, but it didn't really feel the same, so I had asked, can they show me? So at lunchtime for like 10 minutes each day or something, they would take my hands and they would show me the dance, and I got to experience it, and I found that really positive, and the dance teacher seemed to find teaching me really positive, and she said that that made her aware of how she could be more inclusive as a dance teacher. So then I wasn't able to be part of ToonSpeak as a member anymore because I aged out, but they were still really keen to find me another creative outlet.
Yeah.
And originally I was going to do some writing because that's what I'd done with them, but then from my dance experience I decided I really wanted to try dance. So they tried to help me find some dance organisations, but it proved to be quite a difficult task for them. There wasn't really as many inclusive dance organisations as they thought there was. We did find one, and my first experience I had with them was online. It was quite difficult. I'm not really sure if they really knew what my access needs were. So my experience wasn't great. I didn't really know what was happening in the session. I tried to take part the best I could, but I just felt awkward and a little bit disappointed. And ToonSpeak though had found out about TAG. I think it was through Facebook, or maybe it's through a contact in ToonSpeak, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And then they called, I think Katie might have called you, Neil, or emailed you or something.
Amy came into our classes in November 2020. So Amy has a visual impairment, and she'd never done, or she'd had a bad experience in dancing before in terms of online classes. So her worker got in touch with me and asked if the classes would be appropriate for her. After speaking to Kirsty and explaining the situation with Amy, we established that we would try and be as adaptable as possible. And we spoke to Amy and said, what would you like to happen in the class? What would make it more accessible to you and make you feel more included within the session?
Kind of immediately since then, I knew it would be okay, because Kirsty seemed to have an understanding of my needs before she even met me, and Katie said that she seemed really nice and she was really willing, and my mind was kind of already at ease before I'd even attended the first Zoom, just knowing that somebody knew what I needed and would try their best to accommodate it and to try and have me be included.
And all it took for was a simple description of the moves that were happening on the class. That in itself, it seems so simple and it seems a really easy thing to do, but what a difference it made for Amy. Initially she came into the class online and she didn't have her camera on. And after speaking to Amy afterwards, she said that she didn't quite have the confidence because she didn't want to seem silly if she wasn't getting the moves and stuff like that.
Initially what scared me was the thought of not being able to do a move and just standing still and people seeing me not be able to do it and wondering why I'm not doing it, or laughing, or so for me that was an initial concern.
But after, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks, our camera was on and she was engaging with the class, and you seen what it brought to her, you seen the confidence that it did for her right away, and you seen how involved she was getting, and that in itself, I loved seeing it. It was brilliant.
Immediately I felt really happy because Kirsty seemed genuinely thrilled that I had my camera on and she could see me, and then from there I just always had my camera on every week, and Kirsty would describe the dance moves to me. Now at the start I would kind of unmute sometimes and ask her to go over something, or how do I do this, or am I doing this right? But now I don't even need to, because now she'll just keep an eye on me, and if I'm not doing it right she'll just tell me, so I don't even have to unmute.
When we were launching online classes in April, the in-person classes in April, Amy was so excited for it. This was a big thing for her. So we spoke to Amy and we said, we just want to make you as comfortable as possible. What sort of things can we do to make it as easy as for you to come along to the class and just make you feel just like everyone else?
I was really excited for the first in-person class, and I remember I emailed Neil to say to him, can you still, is it okay if you guide me? Because I didn't want to turn up and then someone not be able to guide me, because then I would just, it wouldn't really work. So, and he was fine about guiding me, so, and the first class was really nice. I think it built up my confidence because I'd already done it online, so I knew Kirsty and Neil were fine to describe stuff and things like that, so they already knew me. So I think that really helped. But it was really nice to actually dance outside and know that other people were dancing with you, and you're not just dancing it on your own in your room. And what we decided to, or what I'd asked, is if I could be at the front when we're dancing, so that I could be nearer to Kirsty, so that I can hear her well, because obviously I'm just going by her descriptions. And that's what we've just done since then, is I'll stand at the front or be in the front row, and I'll listen to Kirsty's descriptions and I'll do the moves. And I was actually really, really excited when I found out that when the restrictions had eased a bit more and Kirsty was able to actually take my hands and show me some of the moves if I'm not able to do some of them. And for me that really helps, because if I can't do a move, she can take my hands and show me, and it just, then I get the sense of how my hands are supposed to move or what shape they're meant to do. So for me that was a really, really helpful thing. And I always say, like, by someone showing me it with my hands, it's like the equivalent of like the other participants watching Kirsty dance. So for me that's just a huge thing. One of the really good things I like is when I arrive, I can phone either you or Kirsty and you'll come and meet me at the car and take me in. And for me that's a really important thing. It's a really, seems like a really small thing, but it's all these little small things that really add up to giving me the fantastic experience that I'm having. Even on Saturday, which was our first indoor session, you and Kirsty seemed really keen to have me explore the space and have a sense of what it was like, because obviously everybody else was going to be able to see the space, and you wanted me to know how fantastic the space was. So I got to go around and touch the mirrors and go around the outside of the space, so I knew how big it was, and that was really, really nice. And I love when Kirsty encourages me, and like if I'm dancing and she'll say, oh well done Amy, that's really good, because to me I always think about when Kirsty encourages me like that, it's like the equivalent of Kirsty smiling at somebody and someone else knowing that from across the room that she thinks what they're doing is really good.
As you can see from Amy's story, the smallest changes can have the biggest impact on how somebody is included within sport. And what we've tried to do with Amy and work with her over the past year has been nothing short of amazing. And for me personally, it's been really empowering to work with her. But for us at Game Changers, this is what we're trying to do across the board. We're trying to include people with disabilities, we're trying to listen to them, and we're trying to make an impact based on what they're saying across every sport and any leisure centre, any facility, whatever it is, looking to be more inclusive and more adaptable to people with disabilities.
I just want to thank both Neil and Kirsty for just being so fantastic and just being so encouraging from the beginning. I know that this is the first time they've worked with someone with a visual impairment, so for them it must have been a whole new experience, but without their support I wouldn't have known that I could be part of a dance class and that I'd have so much fun, and now I can't imagine my life without the class. I look forward to it every week and I just love being part of it. It's like one of the best things I think I've done.